Hello students, welcome to MCQ video discussion on Medico apps. Today I am going to discuss a MCQ on Kennedy's classification, which has been asked numerous times in variety of ways in different PG examinations, especially in all India PG exams and major important PG examinations. So let's start by first discussing about the MCQ which we are going to resolve today. So the MCQ states here that the unilateral edentulous area with natural teeth, both anterior and posterior to it, represents Kennedy's which arch or which classification. So the key point here, that means, is about the Kennedy's classification. So you should know about what is Kennedy's classification before resolving this question. So here the options are class 1, class 2, class 3 and class 4. So let's start and understand this important topic on Kennedy's classification. So Kennedy's classification is a very important topic from MCQ point of view, from Viva point of view, and also from theoretical point of view. So you should know this when you are going to write an exam for prosthodontics. So Kennedy's classification was proposed by Dr. Edward Kennedy, and it was based on the relationship of edentulous arch to the adjacent abutment teeth. Now, what do you understand by that? So, if I am using a word edentulous arch, what do you mean by edentulous word? Edentulous means where there is no teeth present, and it is present to adjacent to the abutment teeth. Abutment teeth, that means the teeth which are present in the oral cavity of the patient. So, it's a relationship between edentulous arch and the abutment teeth which are present in the oral cavity. Now, this classification is basically a classification which is for the partially edentulous arches. Definitely, if I am using a word, the relationship between the edentulous and the abutment, that means there is some space where there is no teeth and there is a space where there is teeth present. So, it is based on the partially edentulous arch, and please do remember this point because the Viva questions are framed on these small things only. Okay. Secondly, this is the most widely used classification system for the partially edentulous arches. Okay. Secondly, this partially edentulous arch is used for the removable partial denture designing. Okay. Now, here I want to point one thing again, that Dr. Edward Kennedy did not classify the removable partial dentures. Rather than that, he classified the edentulous arch, the partially edentulous arch. Now, what is the use? Why did he classify it? So, he basically classified it to formulate a good treatment plan. If we know the arch size, the arch designing, definitely we are going to give easy and good treatment to the patient. Secondly, it is also helpful in anticipating the difficulties that may come across when we are particularly designing a removable partial denture for the patient, if we know about the abutment teeth and the edentulous spaces which is present in the patient's oral cavity. Thirdly, it is also very easy to communicate with this particular classification a case with our fellow dentist. And thirdly, it is also very important because the abutment teeth are the natural teeth which are present in the oral cavity. So this can easily take the occlusal load and it can relieve the removable partial denture which we will be providing. So to get that particular design and to get that particular occlusal load, that how much load we can give to that partial denture, this classification was given. So basically, Kennedy's classified this into 4 classes. Okay, there were 4 classes, class 1, 2, 3 and 4. So in this lecture, let's start by first understanding the class 1. What is class 1? Kennedy's class 1. So the first class is that the bilateral edentulous area. I'll be dividing and telling you that what do you mean by each word of this. So bilateral edentulous, bilateral means present on both the side, right and left. Edentulous area means when there is no teeth present. These are the edentulous areas which is present, located posterior to the remaining natural teeth. Now in this image, this is the natural teeth which is present in the anterior region. So definitely what here and where do you see the edentulous space? Posterior to those anterior teeth. So the class 1 is, Kennedy's class 1 is bilateral edentulous areas located posterior to the remaining natural teeth. I hope you understood that what is Kennedy's class 1. Secondly, coming to class 2, Kennedy's class 2 classification. So class 2 is when there is unilateral edentulous area located posterior to the remaining natural teeth. Now, there was in class 1 it was bilateral. Now here in class 2 it is unilateral. So unilateral, that means only this section, only one, right or left side, either of the side has edentulous area which is located posterior to the remaining natural teeth. That means the anterior section still has the remaining natural teeth, but the posterior section at one end, at one side is edentulous. That is class 2. Okay, this is class 2. Class 1 was bilateral edentulous space which is present on both the sides posterior to the remaining natural teeth. Class 2 is edentulous, unilateral edentulous teeth. Okay, edentulous area. Class 3 is, what is class 3? Class 3 is, this is very important classification. Class 3 is very important class because lot of questions are usually framed from this particular class. Okay, so let's see what is class 3. Class 3 is when there is unilateral edentulous area. You have understood that there is only one-sided edentulous area where the teeth are not present, which is present with the natural teeth. Okay, edentulous area with the natural teeth remaining both anterior and posterior to it. That means there is an edentulous area, but it is present only on right side or either on the left side, which is surrounded by both. By what? By both the anterior side also and posterior side also. It is surrounded by the natural teeth, and that edentulous area, this edentulous area does not cross the midline. What is the midline? If this is your oral cavity, this is the midline. So is the edentulous area crossing the midline? No, it is present on either of the side, either left side or on the right side. Okay, so class 3, what is class 3? When there is edentulous area, unilateral edentulous area with the natural teeth remaining on both the anterior side and the posterior. So it has anterior abutment teeth also, and there is a posterior abutment teeth also which is present, and this edentulous area is not crossing the midline. Moving to class 4, what is class 4? So class 4 is when there is single, okay, one single edentulous area, but now because it is crossing the midline, we will say that it is bilateral edentulous area. Definitely, if you cross the midline, it becomes one section and two section. So there is single, though it is single edentulous area, but because it is crossing the midline, it becomes bilateral edentulous area located anterior to the remaining natural teeth. Till now, we had seen all the edentulous areas which are present posteriorly, but now there is a class where there is edentulous area which is anterior to the natural remaining teeth which are present posteriorly. These are the posterior teeth which are present. And what I have told you in the starting only of class 4, that this edentulous area is crossing the midline. Okay. So the 4 classes, I hope you have understood. So quickly just let's resolve the question and get the answer for you. So here the question was unilateral edentulous area. That means it is about class 2 or class 3. Now moving ahead with the question again. With the natural teeth, both anterior and posterior present to it. So how it was? It was present on the, it was class 3 which had edentulous area anterior and posterior to it. This was class 3. So the answer will be class 3 for this particular question. I hope you have understood this class and how we have classified the partially edentulous arch. Now this is not the end. I want to also discuss few more MCQs which have been asked in the exam from this Kennedy's classification. few of the most important and repeated questions, like firstly, the most widely accepted partial denture classification. Even if it is asking you partial denture classification, the answer will be Kennedy's classification. The second question which was asked was about the bilateral edentulous area present posterior to the remaining teeth. What was it? It was about the class 1. Okay, class 1 had edentulous area on both the sides and the abutment teeth were present anterior to that. Okay, that was class 1. Then comes another question I'm going to discuss. Now, do remember this, I'm talking here about the unilateral, only on one section, but posteriorly. So what it was the class 2. Okay, coming to the third class, that is another question on class 3, which I have told you is a very important classification, class of Kennedy's classification. Here it is saying that the removable partial denture which can best resist forces to which it is subjected. What do you mean by that? So if I am saying that this is class 3, okay, this is the edentulous space which is present, and this is the class 3 which is present with anterior and posterior abutment teeth. Now definitely if I am saying that this has natural teeth, more natural teeth present anterior and posterior to it, definitely the removable partial denture will be able to resist more forces. Why? Because half of the forces or more than half of the forces will be carried by the natural teeth which is present, and that is when the answer will be class 3, because it is one of the best classes which can resist forces. And lastly, coming to another question, which is least common arch. What is least common arch? Least common arch will be class 4. What do you mean by this question? This means that this is the least common arch which is present in or which is found in the patient's oral cavity. So I hope you have understood all these 4-5 questions which I have discussed with you, and also the question which we have resolved around the Kennedy's classification. We will be continuing discussing the MCQs like this. For today, good day, good luck. Thank you.